Hello, and welcome to this Bitwise webinar on QualiDI ETL testing automation tool for accelerated data validation. My name is Nathan Nichols, Head of Partnerships here at Bitwise, and joining me today is our very own Samarth Stiare. As a business and quality analyst at Bitwise, Samarth plays a key role in helping clients deliver value with their QA initiatives. Samarth is a leading member of the Bitwise Design and Architecture Research Team, or DART, where he is responsible for driving innovations in test automation tools and technical solutions to business problems and requirements. Before I pass things over to Samarth, let me first provide a quick introduction to Bitwise. Bitwise, a technology consulting and services company, uses over 24 years of enterprise data management experience to help bridge gaps between traditional EDW and cutting-edge technologies, including big data and cloud. As a technology solutions provider, we partner with leading companies like Google Cloud, AWS, Microsoft, Talent, and Snowflake, just to name a few, to help our global clients leverage data to enable business insights and maximize their competitive advantage. What truly sets Bitwise apart is our technology leadership in creating unique accelerators that reduce the time, complexity, and cost of large-scale data initiatives, such as ETL conversion, cloud migration, and of course, ETL testing. Before we get started, we will have a Q&A at the end of this session. So if you have any questions, feel free to send those via the question feature or contact us at any time at sales@bitwiseglobal.com. And with that, I'd like to pass things over to Samarth. Samarth?
Thanks, Nathan, and welcome everyone to the world of QualiDI ETL test automation tool. In today's world, technology advances overnight. It is very critical for technology leaders to not only keep track of new technologies, but also to adapt these. Now, keeping our ecosystem up to date, finding skill sets, and adapting these advancements consume a lot of resources. When talking about ETLs, migrating from one ETL to another, or maybe change in a data store can trigger a lot of rework in testing area. Even a change as small as version upgrade triggers this rework. Now each code promotion to higher environment triggers regression testing. Stare to compare, or in other words, manual regression testing is costly and error prone. And any error here may directly affect revenue and more. Next big challenge in ETL that everyone faces, starting from all stakeholders like BAs, QAs, developers, is a common place to refer and manage requirements. Often, all of them refer to different versions of mappings and end up with a lot of confusion, leading to delays. Maintenance of test artifact, execution history, and results is a tedious and time-consuming task. Looking at the explosion of data, it is very important to verify that the code is capable of handling high volume of data. Using stare to compare technique in such cases is huge effort and directly affect the timeline of projects. And if not done, the test coverage is compromised. Hence, manually doing testing is compromising and lengthy process. Each small changes can trigger end-to-end regression. This is costly and time-consuming activity. And in all these things, we often tend to forget that in due course of time, heavy dependencies are being introduced on resources, which with growing experience become more expensive. This really does not lead to effective utilization. Let us move forward to understand how QualiDI ETL test automation can help us with these challenges. To begin with, let us see General ETL process. In any ETL, source target mapping is, in other words, a requirement document is used to develop ETL graphs. Now, ETL will fetch data from source, apply transformation to load the target. Next, QualiDI uses the same mapping document, connects to the source and target databases, generate test cases using the requirements, execute these automated tests by firing queries to source and target, compares the data, and on the basis of which results are published. Here, QualiDI is outside the ETL process, as in it does not need to be connected to your ETL tool, which really makes it ETL tool agnostic. QualiDI can be deployed on major cloud platforms like Google Cloud, Amazon, or Microsoft Azure. Even you can install this on premises behind your firewalls. QualiDI supports major source and target data stores on premises as well as cloud. QualiDI can not only be used for ETL development or ETL testing, but for number of different database testing as well. For example, when you're upgrading your data stores, or you're consolidating data from different sources, or even when you're migrating your entire data warehouse from on-premises to cloud maybe, or in a hybrid ecosystem as well. Now let us talk about certain development process and how QualiDI can fit in all these processes. Let's take the conventional approach first and try to understand what happens here. Usually, the data objects and database is created and functionalities are added as part of development. Now test cases are run and all the development process is validated. We can go a little bit advanced and use a test first approach, wherein we call it a test driven approach. We write the tests first, run these tests to fail, and start developing our process, our database functionalities to pass these test cases, and keep running these test cases and validate them until we are passing all the test cases that we have written. And we can repeat the entire process for enhancements and even for any new development. Now, what this process brings on the table? At every moment of time, we know that we are adhering to all the requirements, because based on our requirements, we have already derived our test cases. And since we are passing our test cases, or rather developing to pass our test cases, we know that we are always headed to the right direction. And of course, reusability is one of the biggest benefits. Now, if you are in software industry, you have most likely heard about the popular term shift left testing. With agile practices and DevOps becoming mainstream, shift left is answer how testing fits in. Here, instead of taking a backseat during the development process, testing is carried out throughout development cycle. Thanks to QualiDI ETL test automation that aids testers to have more time to dedicate to being more strategic in their work instead of having their hands tied running tests manually later in the stage. Since QualiDI can manage all ETL requirements, entire team can be more successful today when testers can engineer the testing process by collaborating with development and operations right from the requirement and design stage. With QualiDI, testers can help developers implement automated unit tests, plan and create automated integration tests, and so on at every stage and component level. The well-known test pyramid says that bugs are more costlier and slower to fix in the later development phase. Hence, QualiDI encourages you to test as much as possible in earlier development stage. Being from testing background, it is my personal experience that this concept can help you better balance your tests, speed up your test suites, and reduce the cost of changing or fixing the bug drastically. With the increased level of automation, when shift left testing, teams can benefit from increased test coverage since more tests can be run in the same amount of time, more time for testers to focus on more challenging and rewarding tasks, reduced human error rates, monitoring performance over time, code quality checks, reducing issues in productions that end user may encounter. Beyond these benefits, being able to start testing sooner invariably results in higher quality, as testers are less rushed to find all errors at the end when there is little time left to fix them. QualiDI can do many more things here. QualiDI acts as one-stop shop for everyone in your team to refer requirements. All changes are automatically recorded, and users can even select two different versions from the history to compare the changes made. QualiDI does not depend on your choice of ETL tool or data transformation process. That means you can use QualiDI to test any ETL graph or any data process. This also helps in case of technology migration and version upgrades. No rework is required to enable your existing automated test suites. QualiDI can easily test complex transformations and ensure the quality and eliminate any human errors. The automated test suites in QualiDI are independent of data stores. Take a case, you want to migrate from data store A to data store B. Same test suites can be used again with no modification. QualiDI is a programming-less test automation tool that makes test engineering in cloud ecosystem a success and can cater to validation when migrating ETL process to cloud as well. Let's have a look at high-level architecture diagram of QualiDI. The end user can be ETL tester, developer, test leads, or even BAs for requirement management. QualiDI is made as a single page web app that avoids unnecessary page transition, page loads. You can use all your popular browsers to access QualiDI. This eliminates any need of client-side installation. Execution engine of test cases is done with the help of master slave configuration, which is highly scalable and enables concurrent test case execution. Master manages agents as well as provides user with updates on the task, handles failback and failures. While agent work in isolation environment to execute the test cases. With the help of data virtualization layer, QualiDI can connect to heterogeneous set of source and target data stores and execute the test cases. Now the good news is QualiDI is introducing support for Azure Cloud databases as well as Google Cloud Platform databases. We keep on introducing advanced features gradually in our roadmap, highly influenced by our customers, and hence we have introduced a feature wherein a user can add source target query pairs directly into the QualiDI. Let us take a use case and see things in action now. So in this particular ETL graph, let us take the 4 source data tables. Now these data tables are in different data stores. Say for example, employee table is in Oracle and employee contacts is in Azure SQL. And if you see, there are certain joins happening, filters happening, and some more transformations and lookup. And the target as a flat file, delimited flat file is created, which is known as HRMS employee info. Now let me take you to the QualiDI tool and give you how this ETL graph will be tested in QualiDI. So the dashboard, when user logs in into the QualiDI, looks like something this, which gives the overview of entire execution. We have separate admin section, which helps for administrative tasks. Let us go and see we have demo project in our workspace. And let us fetch a fresh release where we'll be creating our test artifacts. The first thing that we will be doing is importing the mapping sheet, or rather the requirements from source to target in QualiDI. So let me give it a title according to our use case. And there are really two different ways through which we can import the mapping. Either use the QualiDI interface to write mapping one by one, or import them through an Excel sheet. For this demonstration, let us use one Excel sheet. QualiDI will now read this Excel sheet and display us the mappings in it, and we can confirm our changes. This is all we need to derive our test suite or generate automated test suite. Let us go ahead and quickly generate the test suite using the mapping sheet we have just imported into QualiDI. Now, there are two different ways. Let us first use the mapping sheet, and there are different test templates. Let us select one of these test templates and click on next. Select the mapping sheet we just imported. And now let us select the mappings for which we want to generate the test cases. Or we can select certain ones which we do not want at the moment. Now, QualiDI has generated source target query pairs, which we can save and use for our regression suites or anytime we want to execute. Let us use the second way of adding test case, which is directly adding source target query pairs, which we might already have with us. So this does not involve mapping sheet for generation of test suite or test cases. I'll copy the source query from my notepad, which is handy with me right now, and paste it here. And similarly, I'll copy and paste my target query. I'll save this test case. And now we want to execute this test suite. So for that, we need certain configurations to be done. So first thing, we need the connection to the source and target data stores. In our case, we are using Azure SQL connection and Oracle and flat file as a target. In order to let QualiDI know what are source data stores and target data stores, let us create a connection group here where we'll be defining what all sources will be used and what all targets are being used. Here we have two sources and one target. Now, since we want to keep our test cases independent of environments, we can use the configuration file to replace the database's name in our source target query pairs. This configuration file is nothing but a key value pair, which suggests you the keys based on the variables used in your mapping sheet and the values based on your database connection. We have everything that we need to execute our test suite. Let us go ahead quickly and start the execution. I'll select the connection group we created. Now you'll notice as I'll select the configuration file, the variables will be replaced automatically. And hence we can double check we are executing in the correct environment. After certain validations, QualiDI will go and start executing the test cases, and we can see the execution of these test cases live in front of us, how they are progressing. So some of them will be failing and some of them will be passing, and we'll be checking what is wrong with the failing test cases. Our execution is completed. Let us check the failing test case. So here for employee number 83, the last name was something different than the last name for the same record in the target. And similarly for employee 84. Hence QualiDI was easily able to identify the difference in the data and show us the results. It can pinpoint to the record level and tell us where the fault is. In today's competitive technological landscape, the barrier to compete are minimal. So the best way to survive is to be able to move fast and defend one's stature by innovating. And this is all possible with the help of features and benefits that QualiDI can provide in the world of ETL. We have already seen how QualiDI can help us and achieve shift left testing, fit in our agile ecosystem, help us with cloud testing, a different data store using a heterogeneous set of data stores. QualiDI comes with many other features, tons of other features like single sign-on, which can integrate with your AD accounts and eliminate the necessity of maintaining separate credentials. Email notifications, as and when any test suites are executed, you can get the notifications to check what was the results. Even integrate these test suites to your CI/CD pipelines and execute it outside the QualiDI's interface. And there are many more. For now, that's all from my side. Nathan, back to you.
Great. Thanks, Samarth. So we hope that this session provided a good overview of QualiDI for automating your ETL testing. To explore further, there are a number of ways to get started. Feel free to visit bitwiseglobal.com, and you can find our QualiDI page under the products section for additional resources, including case studies, as well as an option to request a 30-day free trial. You can also contact us directly at sales@Bitwise Global to discuss a fully supported POC option to quickly and easily get started with the QualiDI evaluation. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and for joining us today. We certainly look forward to talking with you soon. Let's get into the Q&A portion now. As mentioned, feel free to send your questions via the question feature, and we will get to all questions that we can within the time. And as always, you can send questions to us directly at sales@bitwiseglobal.com, and we can give a direct answer that way as well. So we do have some questions to get started. So Samarth, first question we have here is around flat files. Does QualiDI support flat files, and how are the test cases created for flat files, if that is the case?
All right. So we know that flat files are very commonly used data objects. So yes, QualiDI does support flat files. And see, the QualiDI has been designed in a way that while devising your test suites or test cases, we do not have to think about where we are going to execute these test suites or test cases. So QualiDI does not discriminate on your source and target data stores. That means the source target query pairs just we have seen can be executed for flat files in the very similar fashion you would have executed them for any RDBMS or even for any NoSQL data stores. So this really makes QualiDI data store independent. Same mechanism for RDBMS or any NoSQL data stores or even for flat files.
Okay. A couple more questions coming in here. Let's go with this next one. Can the test suites be triggered through Jenkins or any CI/CD tool?
So yes, QualiDI now has been devised, or we have developed QualiDI thinking about CI/CD or rather DevOps processing as well. So what happens? Now, say for example, I have a test suite developed for me and I want to execute it externally through my CI/CD pipeline. Now, this CI/CD the tool of choice can be different. So it can be Jenkins, TeamCity, or any other CI/CD tool. You can create your test suites, define where they have to be executed, as in on what environment. That means you can select your connection group and configuration files and schedule it. At the scheduling screen, you can schedule it to generate one URL which you can hit through your CI/CD pipeline. And this cannot be only your CI/CD pipeline, but it can be your any third-party scheduler, or even your batch scripts, or even through your browser. So this eliminates any dependency on coming onto the screen of QualiDI and starting to execute the test cases. So in short, the answer is yes, and we have the mechanism of exposing the APIs, which you can call through your CI/CD pipelines.
Okay. And then next question is, can I use existing test queries in QualiDI?
Okay. So we do really promote test automation, and along with that, we would also like to promote certain good practices based on our experience in ETL development and similar development in our past experience. We encourage you to use the mapping sheet as much as possible, because that becomes the source of truth of your development as well as your testing. So we do encourage you to start from the mapping sheet or the requirement document and generating the test query pairs through mapping sheet. But however, we do understand there are certain circumstances where either this mapping sheet is not available, or we want to quickly run our unit tests and we do not have the time maybe to manage our mapping sheet. So QualiDI provides you a mechanism where you can use your source and target query pairs directly, enter it, and save it in your test suites. And we do recommend certain best practices to be followed while doing this, like use of variables to keep your query pairs independent of data stores, and execute them in the source and targets to fetch the data, compare it, and get the results. So in this manner, you can really use your existing source target query pairs or SQL queries to getting started with QualiDI as well.
Okay. So there are a couple more questions that came in, but considering the time here, I think we'll need to reach out and answer those directly. Again, if you do have questions that come up after the session, feel free to contact us at sales@bitwiseglobal.com. And with that, Samarth, thank you for your time, and thank all of you for joining and spending your time with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.